That's Rock and Roll Heaven in Orlando, Florida.
Just in there picking up some stuff, so let's see what I got. Greetings, y'all. Welcome back to another episode. We're doing another record store visit today. I know a lot of people like those, and they like to hear about these different record stores I get to visit while I'm out traveling on the road. Today we were in Orlando, Florida, visiting Rock and Roll Heaven, which I believe they bill themselves as like Orlando's oldest record store. I mean, I know I asked the guys there how long they'd been around, and it slipped in my mind when the store started, but I think maybe they were in a different location originally whenever they started, but I think the location they're in now, they've been there since sometime maybe in the 70s or something, so they've been there a long time. The store is kind of overwhelming. There's a lot of records, a lot of CDs. There's some rhyme or reason to it. Stuff's broken down into different categories, and not just the generic like country music, rock music, R&B music. There's kind of like subgenres, like British indie or new wave. And they put a bit of time into organizing the selection there. And they've got a lot of stuff, a lot of spots where it's kind of like 3 rooms almost, and there's parts of the place where you're kind of like trying to like move around. There's so much stuff everywhere, records and stuff, that you're kind of like trying to like slide by to get through the aisle and stuff. And just the used CD section, there's just tons of them, and like I said, there's some rhyme or reason to how they're organized, but sometimes you're digging through stuff there and you're just like, I don't know what I'm looking through right now, but the guys who work there are really cool, pretty kind of comical, I don't know if there was something else in the air that was putting those guys in such a good mood, if you catch my drift, but they were pretty amusing when I was talking to them. And the store, like I said, the selection is really good. There's a lot of cool stuff. I remember specifically looking through kind of, I guess, alternative rock and like new wave stuff, and just kind of really impressed with some of the stuff in there. But prices were a little bit high, I thought, on a handful of things. A lot of the used CDs were $5, which isn't too bad, but there was a lot of stuff I was seeing there where it was like, they should really be charging $2 for this. And then there was a couple, one of which I bought, which were priced, the used copy was priced pretty close to like what it would be new. So, and then vinyl I looked through, but again, I wasn't trying to buy any vinyl necessarily, but I looked through, and again, they had a lot of good stuff there, but the prices just kind of were, all over the place. They had this, and I get some of this stuff, I'm not really up on all the prices and how much stuff really goes for or whatever, but I remember there was one record in particular that I kind of was like, if I ever find this for like $20 or something, I'd probably buy it. Kind of like got a bit of a sentimental, attachment to it. And they had it there, and it looked like it was in pretty good condition, but they were asking like $75 for it, and it was just like, holy moly, let's put that one right back in the bin, but really cool. And they have like a bunch of stuff like up on the walls, just like different like memorabilia and everything like that. So it's just pretty cool shop to stop in and visit. Again, I think if you go there, you might be a little turned off by some of the prices, but you also might find some stuff that's, worth it. So anyways, we'll check out now what I picked up at Rock and Roll Heaven. 1997, we've got Summer Camp and their album Pure Juice. And I think this is their debut record. I'm pretty sure this is a debut record. They're on Maverick, released through Reprise and Warner Brothers. I remember when this album came out, the song Drawer got a lot of airplay on MTV. I don't know if it got a ton on the radio, but I remember the video for Drawer being on a lot on MTV. They were really pushing that. And the band is kind of pop punk, grunge element to it. This is kind of like, getting into the later years of grunge. But I remember that video for Drawer because I remember watching it, and the song doesn't sound like Nirvana really at all. I don't think, maybe a little bit, but I just remember the lead singer and guitar player, probably like the songwriter or whatever. But the dude looked like he looked like he had to be a huge fan of Kurt Cobain. It was like one of those people. It was like he looks like he's trying to look like Kurt Cobain. That's the thing that I just remember the most about that. But the song's really catchy, and like I said, MTV played the hell out of that video. But I don't really know how well this did as far as like sales and everything go. But you know, it's a pretty good record. You know, I kind of like it. There's a handful of things on this that I dig. And I guess, oops. Oh, here's like a little comment card. Sometimes you get these in the CDs and stuff to write in, you know, how you heard about it, what songs you're listening to, or whatever. Funny thing is, it's addressed, you know, Red Bank, New Jersey, which is my neck of the woods, which is kind of weird. I don't know. There must be some kind of like marketing company there that was handling this kind of stuff. Inside, it's got the lyrics and then the band. You know, you can't really. Yeah, the dude kind of looks like Kurt Cobain in that picture too. But you know, if you're gonna emulate somebody, you go for the best, right? But pretty good stuff, you know, on this record. I think they started recording a follow-up in like 2001, and I think everything just fell apart there. I don't think the second record was going very well, the recording of it, and the band just kind of fell apart. Maybe the record company was like, we're not hearing anything we like, go back in, and it just kind of all fell apart. And I think some of the people in this band kind of splintered off into different things over the years. Some of them might still be around, but I'm not really sure. But the tracks on here I kind of like I mentioned 100 times, Drawer, The Bright Side, Should I Walk Away, and Nowhere Near, which is a really good song. That sounds like it should have or could have been a second single from this record. Maybe, you know, would have helped sales a little bit, or who knows. But yeah, kind of interesting. You're curious if anybody is familiar with this band. It feels like one of those kind of bands that I would think a lot of people maybe would see me hold this up and go, oh yeah, I remember those guys. I forgot all about them. But I'd be curious to hear if anybody else is familiar with this band. 2005, we get the band SAR and their album Band Girls Money. And pop punk band, not really sure where they're from. I have one other record by them. The name of the album is slipping my mind, but the song on that I heard is called Kathy Fong Is the Bomb. I heard that on some college radio station. I really liked it. It's really catchy. Like, I mean, perfect example of like a pop punk tune, you know. And really liked it. And then, I don't know, at some point, somewhere, I saw the record and decided to pick it up. And my memory is it's not a bad record at all. And so I was here at Rock and Roll Heaven, and like I said, they've got some boxes, you know, some's organized, some stuff just, I think the guy was telling me there was just this like stack of these boxes with CDs in them, used CDs, and I think he was telling me they were kind of like one-off CDs, bands they weren't really familiar with or whatever, and they were just, he's like, help yourself, dig, you know, we encourage it. So I started digging through, and just nothing, a lot of stuff. I was just like, nah, I kind of was about to call it quits, and then I saw this, and I was like, oh, is that band, you know? And then I pulled it out, I was like, yeah, this is them. I was like, why not? I'll take a chance on them, you know? And this still, oops, there's my receipt. Like I said, most of the used CDs were $5. These two were $5, and then one coming up was a bit more. So, you know, I took a chance on this one. Wasn't really sure. And again, it was $5, which again, it's not terrible, but this is the kind of thing, not knowing anything on here or whatever, that I'd be like more inclined to buy it if it was like $2 or something. But I just was like, you know, whatever, let me just grab it. So took a chance on it. It's pretty good. I like it. You know, if you like the pop punk, if you like your punk and your pop and your punk, whatever, I think you'll like this stuff. Don't really know how much success these guys had, but it's a pretty good record. It's very catchy, obviously, you know, or like kind of hooks and everything, kind of, you know, gets in your ears there. Some of the tracks on here I liked are the title track, Band Girls Money, Wanna Get Dead, Wrong, Everybody's Fault But Mine, Conqueror Worm, and Super Deform was another one, which actually when I heard that one, I kind of felt like I'd maybe heard that song before. It seemed familiar. But as you can see, I just named a good 6 some odd songs out of the 10 on here, so obviously it's ended up being a pretty good purchase there. 2011, we get the Ravenettes and their album Raven in the Grave. Not Raven in the Graven, just Rave in the Grave. Raven in the Grave. I'm screwing this all up. So, you know, I've been leading up to this. This was the one that cost a little bit more than $5. This was $9.98, which, and it's used, but, you know, like, I feel like $10 is a lot for this used. I probably could find this used somewhere else for a lot cheaper, but I really like this band. I've seen them live before. They're kind of alternative, kind of punk, psychedelic kind of sound to them. I'm sure like the Velvet Underground's a big influence on them. And I like them a lot. I have a bunch of their CDs and some of their records. So I just, you know, it's in good condition. I just was like, whatever, I'll buy it. I mean, it's $9.98. Like I said, I could probably get it new for $9.98, but you know, this is in practically new condition. So, you know, whatever. I like it. And it's a good record. I really like this album, you know. There's a couple other records that I'm not too crazy about, and I think some of the later ones, you know, I heard like one song and then hear a couple other ones. I wasn't that crazy about it, so you kind of pass on thinking about picking up the record, and at some point maybe you find it cheap and you pick it up and you're like, oh, I shouldn't have slept on that one. It's really good. And this kind of probably falls in that category. The one song on here, Forget That You're Young, I had that digitally from somewhere. And really liked it. And then I probably heard like one more song from this and didn't really do much for me, so I just kind of forgot about the record. But it's really good. You know, there's the track listing there. Some of these tracks that I like are Recharge and Revolt. Like I mentioned, Forget That You're Young, Ignite, Evil Seeds, and My Time's Up is another really good one. 9 tracks on this one. I like it. You know, sometimes with CDs you feel like, hey, you can fit 18 songs on there. You give me 18 songs, but I like it when, you know, it's like that concise, like, you know, the old school, like 9 or 10 tracks. You know, I'm okay with that. I understand if some people feel like that's kind of like they're getting cheated for, you know, of some music, but I'm okay with that. But yeah, good pickup again. You know, I'm not going to talk about the price anymore. I've talked about that enough, right? Anyway, so that's what I picked up at Rock and Roll Heaven in Orlando, apparently Orlando's oldest record store. Cool shop, worth checking out. Let me know if you're familiar with any of these records and tracks that you like on them. And you know, I never mentioned if you could take a look at our independent film page, jointfilms.com. I usually put the link below, but I never mention it. But you know, we got a couple of films floating around, short films and stuff like that that you might get a kick out of, maybe, or maybe you'll hate them. Whatever, it's all good. Anyways, we'll see you next time. Take it easy.